Hi everyone, we are here up with our human rights case study, and our issue for this case study is Hathras rape attack in Uttar Pradesh, India. Now let us see what is violence. Violence, health and human rights. Various forms of violence have been recognized as human rights issues, including harmful traditional practices, torture, trafficking, violence against women, and violence against children. Less attention is given, however, to the concept that the degree to which human rights are respected, protected, and fulfilled directly influences the underlying societal conditions that give rise to violence. Several risk factors shared by multiple types of violence, for example, poverty, high unemployment rates, gender inequality, racial discrimination, and weak economic and social safety nets are closely linked to human rights such as the right to equality and freedom from discrimination, the right to education, the right to an adequate standard of living, and the right to social security. One of the 9 major recommendations of the World Report on Violence and Health is to promote and monitor adherence to international treaties, laws, and other mechanisms to protect human rights. While human rights must be promoted and fulfilled for their own sake and not merely as a means of reducing violence, policymakers interested in violence prevention must understand that widespread guarantee of human rights will dramatically improve the conditions that make people vulnerable to violence.
Overview of the Hathras issue. In Hathras, before daybreak, the body of the 19-year-old Dalit girl who had been allegedly gang raped by 4 upper caste men in her village was cremated by police on Wednesday. Her family said they never consented. Police and administration said they did. Around 12:50 am, a black car rode into the girl's village and an ambulance behind it. The girl's father and cousin were in the car. A police officer in the ambulance from Safdarjung Hospital in Delhi wanted to cremate her body without any delay. The girl's family wanted to wait until morning. Hathras district magistrate said the ambulance was parked outside the house. District officials and police reached the girl's house to negotiate with the family. An administration official came home and told that someone from the family should go with him to cremate her. They didn't. Some time later, people from the media came asking what they would do now that she had been cremated. Those present at the site later said the police had cordoned off the area where she was cremated. Permission had been taken from the family, said Laksar. He didn't answer questions about the time chosen and the family members were absent. Police shared a video that shows a person standing next to the pyre, implying family was present. The girl's sister-in-law refused that. Her mother broke down before the ambulance. Locals turned irate and chaos ensued. Hathras MP was driven away with slogans of "Go back." The BJP MP admitted that he will speak to the Chief Minister and inform him about police behavior. Action will be taken against them. Outrage over led to the opposition demanding Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath's resignation. Outside the village, police lathi-charged Dalit protesters who were allegedly pelting stones and pulling down store shutters. Over the course of the day, protests were reported from across the country. The forensic report, meanwhile, is not in yet. The medical report, based on an examination a week after she had been hospitalized, had not found evidence of rape, given the long time that had passed. The rape officially has not been confirmed 2 weeks since she was brutalized.
Next, it's causes. Human rights violences are among the root causes of every form of insecurity and instability. Failure to ensure good governance, the equitable rule of law, and inclusive social justice and development can trigger conflict as well as economic, political, and social turmoil at play. Talking about the cooperations between head office and the OSCE, CSET, the work of our two organizations is complementary. Blake outlined areas where sustained joint effort by our organizations can highlight our positive impact on people's lives, such as promotions of equality, free and critical press, a dynamic civil society, economic development, corruption, fighting impunity, and paying special attention to forgotten right holders. The Roma, people with disabilities, migrants, and people living in disputed territories and suffering from protected conflicts. She called for increased synergies between the specialized expert bodies of the international human rights system, which have in depth knowledge to offer precise, implementable, and lasting solutions that can resolve conflicts. These causes have to do with the underdevelopment, economic pressures, various social problems, and international conditions. Indeed, the roots of repressions, discriminations, and other denials of human rights stem from deeper and more complex political, social, and economic problems. Next, we are going to see its effects. Cyclic victimization, deprivation of needed and necessary rights creates artificial relationship imbalances and exasperates overwhelmed people. It creates, expands social dysfunction between individuals and groups. It forces unnecessary expenditures on security measures by the destabilization of the nuclear family and fostering mistrust among all individuals. It reinforces the perceived necessity to put yourself before anyone else, regardless of need or the harm to others. Causes an increased need for medical attention and care. Causes an increase in predatory behavior. Increases and deviant behavior. Irrevocably traumatizes young women. Increases aggressive behavior in young men. Artificially and significantly decreases available and necessary resources to the community. Curtails necessary cooperation between members. Vastly increases infighting and violence between all individuals and groups. Substantially reduces productivity. Markedly increases unwed motherhood. Increases segregations. Makes the community vulnerable to conquest and our manipulations from external groups and our powerful individuals.
Solution. Human rights are fundamental rights that all human beings possess regardless of their race, ethnicity, sex, national or ethnic origin, color, resistance, religion or any other status. These rights cannot be earned and they cannot be taken away, but they can be repressed or violated by individuals, nations, and governments. While there are a number of national and international laws in place to protect human rights, every person has an affirmative duty to also promote and protect these rights. Individuals can promote human rights locally by participating in activist events, or professionally by becoming a human rights lawyer or working for a women's rights organization. Recognize civil rights. In 1948, the United Nations General Assembly set forth the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is a list of human rights inherent to all people. Members of the UN pledge to protect and promote these rights. The largest concentration of rights in the UDHR can be categorized as civil rights, which are rights related to one's physical integrity and protection under the law. The first 18 tenets of the UDHR set forth individuals' civil rights, which include The right to equality and right to life, liberty, and personal security. Freedom from discrimination, slavery, and from torture and degrading treatment. The right to recognition as a person before the law and equality under the law. The right to a remedy from the competent tribunal and to a fair public hearing. Freedom from arbitrary arrest and exile and from interference with privacy, family, home, and correspondence. The right to be considered innocent until proven guilty. The right to free movement in out of one's own country and the right to flee from persecution in other countries. The right to a nationality and the freedom to change it. The right to marriage and family and to own properly. Property. Freedom of belief and religion.
Now let us see the conclusion. Human rights are moral principles or norms that describe certain standards of human behavior and are regularly protected in municipal and international law. They are commonly understood as inalienable fundamental rights to which a person is inherently entitled simply because she or he is a human being, and which are inherent in all human beings, regardless of their age, ethnic origin, location, language, religion, ethnicity, or any other status. Thus, every human must possess these human rights. And thus, every human must be given equal rights.